Yesterday on the show, we broke down some of the absolutely appalling polling for Donald Trump. He's down in basically every group on every issue. Historic lows, all really bad. Or is it? Because it's only bad if you accept that dozens of independent pollsters using the collective expertise they've generated over decades of doing this is true. On the other hand, if bad polls hurt your fifis, then maybe it's all made up. And in fact, maybe they should all be locked up for lying so viciously about you. That is a joke that I'm telling, but it's also unfortunately the position of the president of the United States, who yesterday Truth Socialed great pollster John McLaughlin, one of the most highly respected in the industry, which by the way, I don't know, I'm not gonna Google it. I'm gonna guess that he is not one of the most respected in the industry, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, he just stated that the failing New York Times poll and the ABC Washington Post poll about a person named Donald J. Trump, me, are fake polls from fake news organizations, which I don't even want to Google if that's what John McLaughlin really said. If he did, then he's a goofball, he's a clown. If he didn't, then that's even more ridiculous. And it doesn't even matter because the president of the United States just said about a person named Donald J. Trump, me, you should be institutionalized for posting that on Truth Social. That's really weird, man. Melania, get your man. But anyway, it says that the New York Times has only 37% Trump 2024 voters. ABC Washington Post only has 34%. Again, the reason for that is because lots of people don't vote at all. And the ones who did are fairly evenly split. Again, remember, Trump won the election by 1.5%. So he's always gonna complain about the way they sample. But by the way, even if you believe that that's not a representative sample, as long as it's consistent with the way they've been doing it, whatever decrease he has is still true. It might not be an accurate read of exactly where he's at, but it would still show that he's dropping over time. Or else you have to admit that what, were they like oversampling earlier? Like why is he dropping? But again, this isn't serious, it's not an actual critique. You can critique the polls. I would prefer that you learn a little bit about polling methodology before you do that, but clearly he's not going to. And so the issue is him saying that every poll that he disagrees with is fake. That's not the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is that he went to then turns to this and says, these people should be investigated for election fraud and add in the Fox News pollster while you're at it. Yeah, that damn lib Fox News pollster. They are negative criminals, he says, with capital N, capital C, not regular criminals. These ones are downers. And then who apologize to their subscribers and readers after I win elections big, again, 1.5%, didn't even get 50% of the vote. Much bigger than their polls showed I would win. No, it was within the realm of the margin of error. Lose a lot of credibility and then go on cheating and lying for the next cycle. So anyway, he says that they should be locked up. They're the enemy of the people. They're committing a crime by running polls that I don't like. And that's all over the place. He's saying it's compromised and corrupt in other posts, just constant fake news, fake news, fake news. And then like related, he says that the people who are protesting Republicans should be investigated. They should be immediately ejected and they should be investigated because again, all of these many parallel signs that people don't like what they're seeing cannot be true. And it doesn't matter how many people we have to lock up to silence them, to shut up about how much they don't like what Trump is doing. And so this is dark stuff. It's unfortunately, Viviana, it's very appealing. Here in the US, and I also saw it, I was talking to the production meeting ahead of the Canadian elections, the conservatives that were being interviewed did not believe the polls. They all, and that is, we unfortunately as a species, we just like to be told that people agree with us. And so if I believe that Trump or the conservatives in Canada are great and the polls show that they're not, then I'm right and the polls are wrong. It's sad, but unfortunately it works. What do you think?
It goes back to Stockholm syndrome. You want to believe that your ideology is justified. And this is the same talking points he's used for a decade now plus. It lies in the face of fact. How long has the New York Times been failing and the Washington Post? I mean, they're failing, but they're still going around. What's going on? So by just denying something, when you have this blind sheeps following this, this leader, I guess is what they see him as, and really putting him in like a godlike status by just believing anything he says. Oh, well, he says it's not true, so it isn't. And there's facts that to support the statistics can be bowed and swayed and polls can be shifted. But like you said, do your research into what that means and what is a sample size. And is it the same population that they measured 8 years ago, et cetera. But when you have a blind following, and this is a movement. MAGA is a movement, and it is an international movement. So they're not going to go back on behind. They're not going to argue with him. If he says it's wrong, it's wrong. They're not going to ask questions, and that's what happens to people who are under the control of an oppressor.
Yeah,
MAGA people are oppressed.
Yeah, we critiqued Biden, and I get it. Biden wasn't my candidate. Maybe it's easier or whatever, but we were willing to do it. We're willing to admit when he's wrong or when he says something that's wrong. Like, by the way, really fast. Yesterday we talked about Bernie Sanders, and I like Bernie Sanders, right? I mean, if I'm in a cult, I guess it's in Bernie Sanders or whatever. And Bernie Sanders said they had 36,000 people in the LA thing. What did I say as soon as I came out? Like a catty bitch. I said, it was like 34.5 or whatever. I critiqued it because it's not true. Like, or at least that's what I read anyway. Like, why do you have to bow down to everything? And I'm not even saying Bernie was lying. I think he's just remembering it wrong or whatever. Or maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but just be honest. Just be honest, you pathetic little baby. And by the way, like you pointed out, New York Times has been failing for a really long time. You know what looks like it's failing based on the polls? The Trump administration, the failing Trump administration. I mean, I've got data to indicate that it's failing, buddy.